Welcome to the Personal Project Podcast. My name is Katie, and I'm making personal changes that last. I was anxious and depressed and hated myself in the past. Get on a free coaching call with me if you'd like personal help fast. Okay, it's working. Hello! Oh my goodness, welcome to 2019, guys. Are you so excited? I'm so excited for 2019 for so many reasons. Okay, I hope you can tell, but I got a new microphone finally because I now finally have an address. I can order stuff online, so I really hope you can tell how much better this sounds. Another thing that I'm really excited about is that I'll be starting this year knowing so much about thought work and coaching. And so I have a whole year now. I'm starting the year knowing a lot of this stuff already and practicing it. Around this time last year in 2018 is when I first discovered Brooke's podcast, the Life Coach School podcast, which seriously opened up my eyes and mind to how the mind works and how to actually use it for me instead of against me, like I have been pretty much all of my life until last year. I'm also really excited because 19 is a special number in my life. I've never been very superstitious, but when I learned through thought work and stuff like that, and I really understood that beliefs and thoughts are really just tools. That's really what they are. I now choose on purpose to believe things that make me feel good. Because when I feel good, I show up as the best, most productive version of myself. So I'm choosing to be excited about 2019 because I have a connection to the number 19. I choose to have a connection. Okay, but speaking of productive and being productive, yeah. So I think it's a pretty amazing thing because I've been trying to really, like I said in the last, I wrote a little thing on YouTube, a little post saying that I'm really trying to figure out my alignment to what it is that I do, what it is that I help people with, and essentially what I do. I'm a coach that specializes in procrastination for artists, but what I really do as well is I help people work less. I know, it's a funny paradox. I help people work less and actually enjoy their free time. So, and that really is so helpful when it comes to procrastination. So for 2019, I'm really focusing on stopping using hustle and productivity and doing more as a status symbol. So before my mini burnout episode last year, which is the last podcast episode that I did, and the one that kind of caused some misalignment with all this content I was creating, I was about to make an episode all about how I was essentially going to be working nonstop. I felt, I talked about in the last episode that I was feeling this fire. I felt like I was gonna work like a maniac. But if you heard that episode, I realized that it was driven from a place of scarcity instead of abundance. I was doing it because I thought other people would think wow, she's so successful because she works that much. But I didn't make that episode because there was just this tiny voice inside of my head that was telling me I don't know if that's a good idea. I think you've thought this before and it didn't work out. You kind of hurt yourself. So I didn't make the episode, and I'm really glad I didn't because I think that would have been kind of embarrassing. But I would have just made another episode and been haha, JK. And so I didn't know what to make, right? I had two sides of my brain kind of fighting each other. One side, I think, was the higher self, my prefrontal cortex telling me no, you're not gonna be working nonstop. You're not gonna disregard a social life. You're not gonna disregard your health. And then the other part of me, the one that was driven by scarcity, right, was go, let's burn out. So with the help of my coach, we instead really focus on the last 2 weeks of 2018. We really focus instead on giving myself free time because my schedule and my plan was a complete mess. and I was not committing to my free time at all. And that's what kind of helped lead to like a mini burnout. And we also really focused instead on getting me to feel abundant. And she gave me these like really helpful exercises to really understand what kind of week I want to have, what kind of, like if I was somebody who achieved my goal easily, what would I be thinking? What would I be doing? And I felt a huge difference, you guys, just after one day of doing the exercise she gave me. It was so fascinating. It was like I had the same things on my calendars to do, and I even thought of some new things to do to put on my calendar, but that I wouldn't have even thought of when I was in such a scarcity mindset. And when I was feeling more abundant, I was really showing up so differently. Like I used to be really scared of social media, like especially Instagram. Like I really liked Instagram, but it would be like I would like post on there really quickly and then barely touch it, not looking at the feed, like really avoiding the feed, really avoiding stories, and like feeling really like kind of in a victim mindset when it comes to the stories, kind of like, ugh, like I can't believe I have to do this. I can't believe I have to go on stories. Like I can't believe that's popular now and that's where everyone's looking. But now when I'm feeling really abundant, I'm actually so excited to get on there that I had to start putting a limit on how much I'm on Instagram. And it feels really different from the times when I would go on there just to scroll and mindlessly like look at artwork and then feel like shit. Like I always left Instagram in the last 2 weeks feeling really good. And when I'm feeling super like abundant, I'm giving genuine compliments left and right. And I actually want to, like, I actually think things are amazing and beautiful. And I think everyone's artwork on there that I follow is awesome. Everyone's content is great. Like, yeah, it's like, it's so inspiring now to go on Instagram. So if you follow me on Instagram, I'd really love to hear if you noticed a difference at all. Like I have personally big time and I wasn't working more, and I think that's the difference. It's like when it starts, I think that's how some people think that their work is not really work, because when they really enjoy it. So because of the last 2 weeks of 2018, I really have clear evidence for me anyway, that working more doesn't mean more. And it really got me thinking about the idea of being committed to your goal or to your result or something. I thought being committed means do everything that it takes to succeed and completely disregard your health, your free time, a social life, happiness, and force your brain to love this insane schedule, right? The thing is, I do think there are times when this may be necessary if you want a certain result by a certain time, right? To stay up late or work long hours or miss out on some things for a certain period of time. It really depends. So many of us did that for school, like pull all-nighters, right? Although for me in college, I refused to pull an all-nighter because I did that so much in high school. And I remember deciding I would rather fail an assignment than pull an all-nighter, which I actually think made me more productive during the day. So this is what I really realized. If I'm not willing to hustle like a mad person, then that means when I'm supposed to be productive, I have to be seriously on target and I have to think at a higher level and I have to really, really improve my planning skills and I have to follow through on my plan like it's an appointment with the president, like it's an appointment with the CEO of my company. And I realized that it's not actually a bad thing to want free time. I used to feel so guilty thinking that I want free time. I want time for myself. I thought that meant that I was not going to be successful, that I was lazy, that I wasn't committed to my business, committed to my success, committed to myself or anything like that. And I really thought that there was something wrong with me when I see other people who hustle like crazy, right? And there are people who do that. There are people who are willing to work 12, 18 hours a day and they're not exhausted because they're totally into it. I'm just not there yet. Maybe I will if I work on feeling abundant. But forcing myself into it, I just end up burning out. I don't feel good. And I end up taking breaks, which is kind of the same thing as if I had just, had free time and had some energy that like kept me going. But yeah, so I realized though that if I'm not willing to hustle 18 hours a day, 12 hours a day, then I have to be like on target, on point when I am productive, which I don't think that's a bad thing either. I want to improve my planning skills, because here's the thing, when you like start to really grow, at some point you can't hustle anymore to like a certain level of success. At some point, you can't work hard enough to grow. At some point, you're gonna have to do something different. You're gonna have to think differently. And so I wanna start doing that now. And I don't think this is a bad thing too, because I read in a book in this, it's called Start With Why by Simon Sinek. It's a really good book, you guys. I really recommend it. It's all about how, like, you know, why you do something is so much more important than what or how you do it, which I'm so glad I read that at the end of 2018, because that really helped with all of this. Anyway, in that book, he talked about how there was a company who, again, started with why, and one of their whys is they really, really care about work-life balance. Like they have like family values, and so they wanted their employees to go home at a certain time so that they can spend time with their loved ones. And so one of the policies that they created in the company is that if you work more than 8 hours a day, if you do overtime, you are fined, actually. So it's the opposite, you know, like oftentimes we are rewarded for working overtime by we get double the rate of our salary or whatever we get, like an hour, right? Usually if we work overtime. But in this company, it's the opposite. You get fined. And so that means the people, like when they're at work, they are super productive, because they're like, I only have 8 hours, so I better, you know, not fool around, and then I get to go home and really actually spend time with my family, with the people I love, my hobbies, stuff like that. So I want to do that same thing for me. Like, I think you can get to success either way, right? You can totally hustle like mad, like for 18 hours, or you could calculate. I feel like there's a beautiful balance somewhere in the middle where you're hustling, right? And what hustle really means, I think, it means massive action. And massive action, it means producing something that wasn't there before you touched it. And the opposite of massive action is passive action. And what passive action is like watching tutorials, reading books. Like it's all stuff that feels productive, that feels like it's going towards a goal. And of course, there are times when that stuff is really necessary, right? Like taking classes, like absorbing knowledge. But then you actually have to apply that knowledge. Applying the knowledge is where all the freaking magic happens. And that's what massive action is. Massive action is when you're actually creating art, when you're actually writing your story, right? Massive action is when you're actually like making a YouTube video, and then you're gonna share it out into the world. You're producing something. So that's what hustle is. And so I think there's a beautiful balance somewhere in the middle where you're hustling, right, during a certain amount of time, and you're on it, you're on point, you're like totally focused. And then you get free time, and you get a reasonable amount of free time. So when I think about being committed, to me, it's less about being committed to the result or thinking about that goal, right? Like whatever the goal is. But instead, it's being committed to feeling abundant or all the feelings I think I would feel if I achieved that result. Because that's the reason why we want anything at all in our life. In all these goals that we have, the only reason we want to achieve them is because of how we think we will feel. What I really, really want to prove this year is how we don't need to kill ourselves to get success. Which, you know, all of this stuff, it really aligns with what my teacher Brooke talks a lot about, and how important it is to coach ourselves and manage our mind. Because the thing is, when we feel abundant or amazing or whatever, right, whatever feeling that we love feeling, the action doesn't matter. Whatever action you take in an amazing feeling place is the right action. And this is super freaking uncomfortable for me, you guys. Like, when I was at first feeling like I have all this energy and I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna work really hard. I'm gonna work 18 hours days. I'm not gonna care about a social life. Like, I was excited, but I felt uncomfortable too, right? Because I was like, oh man, this is gonna be hard. This is gonna be hard work. It's gonna be uncomfortable. But I'm like, I'm gonna do it. This is a very different kind of discomfort now that I realize. Like, this discomfort actually feels like one that I would have a harder time with. Like, it's easy to overwork for me. It's easy to disregard my health, disregard my social life, disregard, like the things that I enjoy in from a scarcity place, right? From like in a rush to success place. That stuff is easy. But like being really focused, following through on my plan, and not using hustle or productivity as a status symbol is very uncomfortable. And it sounds like the uncomfortable that like I need to face more than the other. I want to prove that. And I want to do that for my clients because I know that this is something so many of you guys struggle with too. Thinking that doing more means you are more. Not true. I'm going to prove it. And I hope it will allow you to let down that heavy armor you've been wearing for so long too. Okay? All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys need a helping hand, tell me how you're feeling about 2019. I've been asking this around my social media. I really actually want to know. If you're feeling awesome, please send me an email and tell me what you think, or write in the comments how you're feeling, why you're feeling amazing about it. If you're not feeling amazing about it, please also say that because I would love to help you. I would love to just respond in an email or write in the comments like how I can help you think something different if you want that, so that you can start 2019 in a great place. All right, guys, thank you so much, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye. Thanks, guys, for watching. I always love hearing from you, so DM me on Instagram or book a free coaching call with me. It's all in the description. It's been so freaking fun to speak to each and every one of you, and you get to get things off your chest that maybe you haven't been able to resolve with anyone else about. So yeah, I'd love to hear from you. Love all of you times a million. I'll see you in the next episode.